Hello, we sing Aisiriowen Odiase is my name, and I'm the senior pastor of Land of Grace Ministry. This evening, I bring you greetings. I bring you the blessings of God, and I pray that at the end of this brief conversation, your life will be changed. Something about you will change for good. The glory of the God of heaven will be manifest over your life in the name of Jesus Christ. Very briefly, I'll be sharing with you on what I titled as the Gehazi's curse. The Gehazi's curse. Just in case you don't know who Gehazi is, Gehazi was the servant of the man of God by the name of Elisha. Gehazi, just as Elisha served Elijah, Gehazi is supposed to be the Elisha to Elisha. I hope you understand that. He's supposed to be the Elisha to Elisha, just as Elisha also served Elijah. So Gehazi served God's servant. In most cases, the Bible referred to him as the servant of the man of God, the servant of Elisha. So Gehazi worked very closely with Elisha. Elisha had other spiritual children. Elisha had sons of the prophet. But you see, Gehazi was a very close person to Elisha. Their closeness were very, very high. As a matter of fact, Gehazi is supposed to become the next prophet after Elisha's possible departure. But Gehazi's case didn't go that way. He ended as a man that carried curse from the master. So what did Gehazi do? How did he attract curse into his life? Briefly, we'll be seeing three things that Gehazi did that brought curse upon his life. Gehazi, number one, had this forwardness. He's that kind of a person who can be following his master, but always want to be ahead of his master. Not necessarily by walking in his front, but he wants to be ahead when it comes to knowledge, intelligence, and when it comes to knowing the environment. How do I know? In the book of 1 Kings, chapter number 2, verse 4. It's chapter number 4. The book of 2 Kings, chapter 4, verse 12 to verse 14. The Bible told us about the story of Gehazi being forward. 2 Kings, chapter 4, from verse 12. The Bible told us, and he said unto Gehazi, his servant, call this Shunammite. And when he had called her, he stood before him. And he said unto him, say now unto her, behold, thou hast been careful for us with all this care. What is to be done for thee? Wouldest thou be spoken of for to the king or to the captain of the host? And she answered, I dwell among my own people. And he said, what then is to be done for her? And Gehazi answered, verily, she had no child, and her husband is old. Now, you see, Gehazi was not the one answering for the woman. She has no child and her husband is old. One would say it's not wrong. It's not totally wrong. But the question is, how did Gehazi know? Elisha, the man of God, didn't know if there should be conversation, if there should be, because whatever goodness the Shunammite woman shown to them, he shown the goodness to Elisha, or he showed it to them because of Elisha, because she perceived, according to the scripture, that Elisha was a servant of God. And she showed her kindness to Elisha, literally. But Gehazi, as they moved to the house, you find out that Gehazi went prognosing, trying to understand one or two things about the woman. Maybe probably trying to know how much she has for herself and her husband to be able to build them a chamber. You know, they must be wealthy. So he wanted to know much. And from there, he got to know that the woman had no child. When the man of God called the woman, you know, she lost interest over that aspect. So she didn't want to talk about that. But Gehazi responded on her behalf, which was not a bad idea, because if he hadn't spoken up, maybe the woman would not have gotten a child. We know that part. But the question is, how did Gehazi knew that she had no child? How? Because he went ahead of the master, making inquiry without the consent of the master. That's number one error. Whenever you follow a person, it's very important you learn to follow. The word follow means the person who you are following should always be ahead of you. That is not to say you shouldn't acquire knowledge when it is necessary, especially the way the world has become. That is not to say you shouldn't acquire knowledge, but learn in submission, learn in humility, learn in quietness, and don't beat the box when you still have a box. Number two, Gehazi seeks to glorify himself instead of the master. How do I know? 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 25 to 37. In this portion, the Bible told us that this same woman lost her child, the son that the man of God prophesied about that she was going to have. She lost the child. And she went to the man of God and grabbed the man of God. And, the man of God perceived that the woman was hurt. Because the man of God had programs, so he didn't intend to follow the woman. So he sent Gehazi. He said, Gehazi, guide yourself and then take my mantle and go straight to the child and cast the mantle on the child. While Gehazi was making preparation for that, the woman told the man of God in the presence of Gehazi that as God live, I will not let you go. Except you follow me, I'm not going to leave you. And so Elisha started getting ready, getting prepared, and to follow the woman. While they were going, the Bible said that Gehazi went ahead. He went ahead of his master. He went ahead of his master. And he cast the mantle on the child because he wanted to take glory. The man who sent you is now on his way. The man who sent you is following you already. As a matter of fact, he was ahead. But because he wanted to take the glory so that they will say it's through his hand that the child got revived, he went ahead. He went ahead. I'll read that portion. 2 Kings chapter number 4 from verse 25 to verse 37. Verse 25. So she went and came to the man of God, to Markame, and said, and it came to pass, when the man of God saw her afar off, that he said to Gehazi, his servant, behold, yonder is that Shunammite. Run now, I pray thee, to meet her. And say unto her, is it well with thee? Is it well with thy husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, it is well. And when she came to the man of God, to the hill, she caught him by his feet. But Gehazi came near to thrust her away. And the man of God said, let her alone, for her soul is vexed within her. And the Lord had hid it from me, and had not told me. Then she said, did I desire a son of my Lord? Did I not say, do not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, gird up thy loins, and take my staff in thy hand, and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not, and if any salute thee, answer him not again. And lay my staff upon the face of the child. And the mother of the child said, as the Lord live, and as the Lord liveth, and as my soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. And Gehazi passed on before them, and laid the staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor hearing. Wherefore he went again to meet him, and told him, saying, the child is not awake. Now, I'll stop there. It's up to verse 37. The man of God later prayed and the child came back to life. So what happened there is that Gehazi was forward. He wanted to take glory for himself. The Bible said, the master who sent you, who owns the mantle, is now coming. Is now coming in flesh. Is not coming by himself. Still, you went ahead of the master to go and lay your mantle, to go and lay the mantle. You know, that's why power was already withdrawn from the mantle. Because the person who sent you is now coming. Is now coming. You ran forward to go and cast the mantle so that you can take the glory. So that people can see you as being relevant. So that was number 2 error. Then number 3, Gehazi was greedy and covetous. He was greedy and he was covetous. How do I know? 2 Kings chapter 5 verse 20 to verse 27. This talks about the story of Naaman, the captain of the Syrian. You start from verse 1. You find out about the story of Naaman. He was having leprosy and he was a very great man in Syria. So as fate would lead him, he fell into the hands of Elisha. And Elisha told him to go dip himself in River Jordan. He did 7 times, came out, and he was healed. So he brought some victuals. He brought some goose for appreciation to the man of God. And the man of God refused. He persuaded the man, but the man refused. He tried to persuade the man refused. And so he left. While he was going, from verse 20, Gehazi said, how can my man of God spare this man just like that? So I will go after him. And by God, as the Lord liveth, I will go after him. And I will take some things from him. And he ran after the man because what he saw was big. So he ran after the man and lied in the name of his master, that the master had a guest. The master now want the man to bring some goose, and so Gehazi gave him the goose. After he took the goose inside, he came back and stood with his master as if nothing has happened. And the man of God said to him, Gehazi, where did you go? He said, I went nowhere. And he said to him, did my heart not went with you? That's according to King James. Some translation will use the word, did my spirit not follow you? When you go to the place where you went to go and collect goose, is this time to collect goose? Is this time to collect gifts? And he said, the leprosy that was taken from them, cleave unto you. That was the curse. And unto your seed forever. And the Bible said that the man became leprous. It was white as snow instantly. And that was the end. That was the end of his life. Now, if you read some other portion, I think all right. If you read later on in the book of 2 Kings, I think chapter number 8, the Bible told us that Gehazi became the man publicizing his master for good. What he wouldn't do when things were normal, when he was with the master, he started doing it later. He went to the king. The king was not asking, tell me about what happened. Most of the great things your master did, he was not speaking good of his master. And then the Bible told us that while he was talking, he saw the woman that the man of God prayed for the child to come back to life. The woman was just walking past. And he now said, look at the woman. Look at the woman that he brought the child back to life. He was now humble as to give credit to his master after he became cursed. Why do I say this today? I'm sharing this message to encourage those of you who are following. Always have regard for your setback. Whether he's good or not, depending on your judgment for who is good and who is not. Always have regard for your set man, because God knows the reason he brought your path cross each other. God knows the reason he brought the both of you together, whether it is for a season or for a while. Eli, whose children were sons of Belial, it was the one that taught Samuel how to answer God. Are you hearing me? Always make sure to maintain, no matter the knowledge you have. I'm not asking you to throw knowledge away. No, that would be wrong. I'm not asking you to throw knowledge away. You can read deep. But you must be able to come out from the deception of pride, the deception of civilization. I know better. And then the deception of trying to seek self-glory. For people to speak of you when your father in the Lord or whoever he is that is ahead of you is still around. Don't seek that glory. Don't seek that glory. Christianity has become vulnerable today because of the actions of Christians, not the weakness of Jesus, the actions of Christians. People speak against Christianity the way they like more than the way I've ever heard since I was born. Nowadays, they do that because of our actions. We should learn submission. Blessings follow submission. Elisha was an aristocrat. He had money. He had a large farm. If to be compared to nowadays, he would be someone like Alinko Dangote. He was wealthy. He was a great farmer. When he received his call to follow Elijah, he abandoned his wealth and followed him. But nowadays, the focus of some folk who follows their master is on glory, self-glory. Or they follow their master sometimes just to gain ground. Most of them have the name of their ministry written in a book or written at the back of their Bible. And then some of them try to exercise more knowledge or more revelation than their master. I'll share a story with you before I pray. A young man, I was told this story 2 years ago. A young man went on the internet. He was always doing Googling. So he discovered where they said tithes in the scripture is outdated, or tithes is no longer relevant. So he came to the master publicly, came to his pastor publicly and said, "Sir, this tithe that we collect is no longer scriptural. There are many things in this church that are not scriptural that we are doing." So he motivated the people that were around, and the pastor kept quiet. He can't drive him. He couldn't drive him, so the pastor had to take them through scriptures. Take them through the New Testament, the book of Matthew, the book of Corinthians, the book of Philippians, where it talks about ministering to the saints. The book of Luke, where Peter said, we have forsaken all and has followed you. The book of Acts, where people sold all their properties and dropped it at the feet of the apostles. They gave more than tithing. They took care of the ministers, and they also tithed. The pastor now was able to convince some of them, but most of them didn't want to listen again because they've won. The young man has won their favor. And to cut the long story short, it was not too long. He broke away from the church, and just the next street he went and opened his church, and majority of the members followed him because they believed that he knew something that their master didn't know. And he didn't last a year. He died. I know that this message is going to be a very strong, complicated one. People are going to raise comments and eyebrows over what I'm saying now. But I just want you to know that you should be careful. You should be careful. Ananias and Sapphira died because of their own property. Because of lack of character placement. Lack of truth. lack of submission and humility to the Holy Spirit. I pray that you will not be cursed. I pray you will not fall on a curse. I pray that you will not fall on a curse. When I was going to begin my ministry, I carefully avoided offense. Even though there were anger, I carefully avoided offense. And I also made sure that relationship remains. Be blessed. Be blessed.